Good day, Brittany. I apologize in advance for any noises that may occur in the background. I was trying to wait till my house got completely quiet to record, but I think it's time I accept that that will never, ever, ever happen. So I am going to be getting into your natal chart, but because the theme of this week is goddess initiation, and I'm going to do this for male and females in general, because if you are feminine or you're somebody who relaxes in your feminine energy, then a goddess will be like you're a part of that energy signature, or you've worked under that goddess or whatever before. But I think it would sort of be the same thing with a guy, but like that goddess would be like their guardian. So if you're going through a goddess initiation, you're a guy, it's because you are linking up with a certain feminine energy that will lead you to a counterpart that is a goddess who is being initiated somewhere. So this is all very interesting because it's coming through as I am channeling for other people. Like I only get to find out if I come show up and do my job. So the main theme actually is reorganize and recollect 4D. So from what I have been experiencing doing sessions, it seems like everybody is clearing out some programs that don't matter anymore, like old mind control and stuff. But it's so you can download more information about who you are, the skills you already have, what you've been doing with your time here thus far. So going forward for the rest of this week, I'm going to pull from the African Goddess deck and the Dark Goddess deck, one for the shadow side of the new power you are embracing, and then one for the divine feminine side of you. So you know both. Because as your power grows, your shadow grows, and you got to know what you're working with. And then we'll get into how this shows up in the chart because Atlantis is very, very much the theme of this week. I will be keeping that asteroid in for everybody's sessions. And you were the first one that I think I'm looking at with this asteroid in it. The first not one on one, should I say. So let's see. What met I always gotta ask the right question. Like, come on. Goddess initiation. What divine goddess is assisting or attached to Brittany for this initiation? I'm not gonna look at them. Put the card down and pull the shadow next. So I'm gonna pull them at the same time and give you a full like understanding of what is happening in the blossoming of your feminine energy. So what dark goddess is attached to Brittany's energy signature? Initiation. You want to make any guesses now would be your time. Straight up hold them up like this. Most times we know our own signature, but if you don't have a lot of knowledge on goddesses and stuff, and that's not your fault. They should have been taught in school, just so everybody knows stuff, right? Don't only teach one thing. Give people the right to choose. I have to make this thing focus. So we have. That's the second time this heifer popped up today. And that was a completely different shuffle. Okay, check out the video that I made today called, and it's 4:44 on the clock. So check out the video I just made called, wait, what? So Oshun is a part of the divine energy you're stepping into. Please note the peacocks and the honey and such, because this is a fragment or another incarnation of Hera, Venus, and Aphrodite. So you are rising into your Venusian energy. This means in your chart we will see some Libra or Venusi. Well, I was about to say Libra or Taurus energy that was meant to be activated at some point. So the shadow is this goddess earlier who was worried about love coming in, right? But it was because she was cloaked this whole time, and it took a special man to be able to see who she was underneath this. And only after that man approached her and courted her was he allowed to see her true beauty. And it turns out that she actually is a goddess that if you give her love unconditionally without knowing what she actually looks like, she blesses you and turns you into a king. But the shadow of that was worrying, worrying about love, disappointment, darkness, just sadness, just the cards say desperation. I don't like saying that. And I'm definitely not reading from the book because I read from it in that other video. And I'm like, this is a little bit harsh. I know it's dark goddess information, but the benefit of this that it's like you've been roaming around hidden for so long that nobody's ever really been able to see you, that it's starting to feel like you can't even see you. But the person who does eventually see you sees you as this. They see you abundant. They see you as a goddess. They recognize the beauty in you, as opposed to this version of here, which is a dried out version of yourself. It's like everybody took from you. So you started hiding in the background in order to avoid anybody taking from you. But you started looking out, sort of kind of with yearning, like, oh, I wish I was out there. I wish I could have A, B, C, and D. Nothing turns out right for me. So there's a little bit of bitterness in your shadow in regards to the fact that you have a very loving, very romantic, very Libra energy, but there ain't no Libra. Like there ain't no partner. There ain't no Libra in going on. Don't look at my pile back there. That's my overflow stuff. So you also have a Reshkagal here, right? And I'm only mentioning this because this is connected to Hecate. I did a whole thing yesterday when I was talking about the mother energy, although I did not mention her by name. That will come up this week, so just be on the lookout. This means you're at a crossroads. This is the goddess of initiation. If you want to leave from hell's cycles and get a chance at going to heaven instead of reincarnated again, you have to go through Ereshkigal at the crossroads. So you are wanting to go from the life you had as your dormant self to a life that is more connected to your divine self. So say you used to be an angel, right? Something happened down here, you ended up getting caught up in the web, the web of Pan's Labyrinth, right? So now you've been doing it for a very, very long time, and you decided that's enough of that. You want to go back home. This is the life that you have to live in accordance with certain principles to rise back into this energy for yourself. So let's look at this chart now. That's what you're here for. Let's see about this card. As soon as I misplace one, I don't put the lid on. Crazy. So, as I mentioned, I included the Atlantis asteroid. That ended up being extremely significant for you. So, this is Atlantis up here. When things are at the 1st, 13th, and 25th degree, they are about you being a warrior, about you being a soldier, about yourself, your physical body, your identity, your ego, your brain, the way your mind works. I'm going to count how many things you have at those degrees, right? We have your North Node at the 25th degree, your South Node at the 25th degree, your Uranus at the 13th degree, your Ceres at the 1st degree, Atlantis at the 13th degree, Nessus at the 13th degree, your vertex at the 1st degree, Logos at the 25th degree, right? All of those things are ruled by your first house of self, ruled by Aries, and your sun is an Aries sun. You have your sun at a volunteer degree, right? So you are assisting your bloodline with clearing out a debt that they accrued. You volunteered yourself as tribute. I see that two ways. The 6th degree Aries sun, right? And second, because you are the value, you are the product, your physical body, whatever it is you're doing, you are the moolah, baby, right? And then you have a Saturn, right? This is your contract for your bloodline. It's at the 4th degree in your first house. So any limitations you've had in this life were placed on you by your family. If I'm gonna keep it 100 here, it looks like you were born to make your family wealthy and you have kind of a contract on your head. Right? So let me hide this panel so I can get in here. Okay, so you have all these things working with your Aries energy yourself. So the Saturn is a binding on you until you're around 28 that keeps you connected to a certain group. In your case, I'm feeling like it's the family you grew into or the family you were born into, but you're meant to start a unique type of family yourself, something with your spouse. It can even be like a little motley crew of people that y'all call family. Friendsgiving popped in my head, but like just that energy in general is those people in my family. It's not the people I came from. Like you were healing your bloodline, but you were healing other parts of your bloodline, other soul parts of your bloodline. So your North Node at the 25th degree means you are rising into yourself and your proper legacy. This is giving me the energy of being born into that only to clear it. And then once you have cleared it, you get like your value back, which is why I was saying that you were sort of brought in to bring your bloodline money because all this is in Capricorn. That means there is some money that you are going to be making off of your dreams, visions, any works that you create or businesses that are based upon your imagination, your intuitive abilities, your dreams, things that are outside of yourself, you're channeling. So your Uranus is at the 13th degree, right? This means at some point there is a big radical change that comes in your career. It hits, it changes who you are, and it changes the karma that you have been carrying since Atlantis. I need to also mention not only does do the things at the first, the 25th and the 13th degree all bleed into your Aries energy in your first house, right? But when they are at the if when they are at the same exact degree, right? They are funneling into each other like a conjunction, like they are right next to each other, like it's on the same station. So your Uranus is radical change. Atlantis and Nessus is the abuse asteroid, right? You have it in Libra. This is very much giving me the energy of either you took a bride or you were a bride. But in this life, you wanted to change the abuse that happened in Atlantis, in that partnership, and to rise back into power. Quick history lesson: what happened in Atlantis was a whole bunch of people were chilling till some Martians showed up, and the Martians decided, hey, we need to lock in here. So they made up the idea of taking wives because they need somebody connected to source in order to feed them energy, sort of vampirically, or if you're into like psychology, like narcissistic stuff, like they don't have their own energy, so they need a supply all the time. It looks like you were turned into somebody's supply, and this lifetime is the one where you are breaking out of that, I would like to say. And I'm saying that because this vertex at the first degree, that's the first degree of self, like a rebirth energy, right? Your vertex is a fated event. You have it in the seventh house in Virgo. Virgo is healing, and seventh house is a partnership. So this would take you from being in really crappy relationships that were like flings where people would appear to be what you wanted and just like use you and then like move on to you being in a partnership with a really healing partner that seems to be perfect for you, like your divine partner is what it looks like you signed up to end up with, but you had to make it through all the patterns and the storylines connected to the old spouses, because I'm hearing spouses now, like it was multiple different people you were married off to. And it sounds really bad, and it is really bad, but it really gives me like the energy of back in the day where women were sold off with a dowry and stuff. Like it became a regular way of being based upon what happened in Atlantis, that, hey, you got a female, you got commodity, you can sell that as a wife or whatever. It's a supply. Every partnership adds to your soul points, is what I'm getting here. You have Jupiter in third. It's like you have no problem finding love. I said Jupiter in third, Jupiter at the third degree. You have no problem finding love, but integrating is the issue here because you have Jupiter at retrograde, Hecate retrograde, Sophia retrograde, Logos retrograde. You are finding your divine energy, and until you were able to appreciate your uniqueness, you were going to keep coming across people who made you feel alienated because of who you were. And it's like that all was funneling into your art. You are having a final exam for the work that you create. as an artist, as a creator, as an entertainer, as a motivational speaker. You could be a politician. You could be a great actor, actress, even with this going on. Wonderful writer. But that would be still pulling from your experience and sharing that with other people in some way, shape, or form. Everything in your chart is pretty much about yourself. Like this whole life has been sacrificial. Like you agree, like I volunteer as tribute. Put me through it so I can tell people about it. Right. So your series, which is how you care for yourself and receive nurturing, and how you also care for other people based on what you need, right? Retrograde. Yeshua, retrograde. Atlantis, retrograde. Nessus, retrograde. Pluto, retrograde. When something is retrograde, it is a rewrite from another life. That whole marriage thing that happened, it seems like you were really, really tight about it. There's part of this that makes me feel like you might decide one day, excuse me, like, hey, I am my own partner. And I'm saying that because your sun is at the 6th degree in Aries, right? That's self. Your part of fortune is at the 6 degrees in Virgo, right? Virgo's healing, fixing, restoring, right? Having that as your piece of luck, like you restoring yourself in a partnership, or you fixing your shadow being the thing that like heals all the warrior energy. It's like there's a lot of dark feminine energy just up in you, ma'am. Like from all your trials and tribulations and all the stuff put on you. But it's because of this Saturn in Aquarius. It's like it was meant to force you outside of the people you grew up around. Like it was made to make you feel like around these people. Like I have to go find people who understand me, who line up with my beliefs, or even just like let me be me, period. But that has been the thing sort of pulling along this whole chart. That in your past life, you've been looking for like your old Atlanta's people. Like, where are the ones that I went down with? Is what I'm feeling here. You wanted to transform your beliefs about yourself. Beliefs about yourself. That's 20th degree Scorpio in ninth house. All these retrogrades really give me the energy of somebody who got so hopeless in their life that they just said, fuck God, fuck everything. And I'm saying that aggressively because that's what that retrograde of logos is. Like you had a connection to God directly at one point, but things got so bad that you sort of shunned it. And in this life, you are making amends with that. Like you want your direct line back to source in this life. But a lot of this is soul searching, like heavy soul searching by seeing your reflections in other people. Like, what is it I want? And then this person comes along and they help you realize something else about yourself. Like, but it feels like people are very temporary for you, but you are consistently seeking the value in yourself. That is backed up by your Mars at a Taurus degree. Taurus is Venus driven. Your Venus is in Taurus in the 3rd degree. So the things that you come up with in your mind are meant to bring you money once you ground them into reality. Is very much part of this too. It's like everything that's ever happened to you has been waiting in the back of your mind like a piggy bank. So I'm going to add asteroid banks right now as I'm being guided. That's where your celestial inheritance is hanging out. I have a feeling it's going to pull all of this together. Because as far as this reading goes, I was meant to be telling you what you are evolving into, what you have to look out for with the goddess initiation things, because you are stepping into your power. With the theme being this reorganize, recollect 4D, and you coming back into remembrance of yourself, or because Atlantis blew up and fell apart, and it just God did everything he could to destroy that when it was at the end, right? Through natural storms and all that sort of stuff. But a lot of signatures were cracked up, like their psyche was broke up, because you know when something traumatic happens, you get fragmented. So there could be like 100 Joan of Arcs because of the trauma that occurred when she died. And each person has to heal a part of that. Say, nobody believing that she was talking to God was a trauma. That'd be one person dealing with that. And then, oh my God, I can't believe they burned me to death. That would be another person dealing with that. But you were all a part of healing the same energy signature. That's what I am getting for you. But it's a matter of finding out what part of self, or you are returning back to the Trinity, because this is the 25th degree of self and your logo is at 25. You could be returning back to the crown. Uh, it looks like, that's what the 12th house, the 12th house is the crown, but it looks like you have to go through Saturn first. You're going to be tested on how you deal with humanity. Have you ever been bullied? Because it feels a little bit like you're going to have to not hate people when they re-trigger all your feelings you have about your questions about self-worth. For those who don't understand what you're doing and mislabel it, but you are absolutely delivering messages on behalf of the Christ energy, because look, 26th degree. 26th degree Mars, your drive is to deliver the messages that are coming through you, uh, through art, through literature, through anything that allows other people to transcend the human experience. You know how you watch a movie so good you forget you're watching a movie and time just flew? Whatever you make is supposed to give people that feeling, like good music, like something transcendental. That's why your Capricorn or your business or all your work energy, for the most part, is in the sign of Capricorn in the 12th house. You are pulling from the transcendental place to give people something that is a gift, but it's also restoring your crown and giving you your space back above. Now, look at that. Your banks is at the 13th degree, right? Crazy. Uh, it's like you get a family reward once you heal yourself, because it's next to your Reiki at a Taurus degree. So once you healed yourself from being evil, dark, and envious of other people who had good relationships, because you kept getting paired with really crappy people, because you got kidnapped and forced into a karmic loop with a kidnapper and a assailant, a stalker, whatever the case may be, and you were just breaking free of that in this life. Now you get the reward of sitting at home and making money for your bloodline, because you technically sacrificed your whole life and existence in order to further your bloodline and their wealth. So you get to enjoy it at home at the end. All you have to do is heal and share the modalities through which you healed with other people. And in this case, it feels like a lot of transmutation, a lot of clearing things out of yourself. This could be a lot of talking, a lot of speaking. It's a lot of words, is what I'm feeling. But it's like what you do is one thing, but people ask you questions about that thing that you do, and that gives you the ability to speak on all the other stuff, but the actual thing speaks for itself. So this should be fun for you. Have a great day.